Welcome back to another episode of Way Too Wifey. I'm your host, Respectfully Gabby, and in this podcast we talk all things dating and relationships in this modern day. And if you are new here, hi, I'm Gabby. I'm an online dating coach where I help women transform their dating lives, going up from situationship to soulmate. So if this sounds like you, something that you want to look into, hit the link in my bio to find out more. And if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. I post content every week. So if you do not want to miss another episode, please hit that bell notification on YouTube. And if you're watching this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere else that you can watch podcasts, please leave that 5-star rating so I can get the word out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today is a long overdue episode that I've been meaning to make. I actually thought that I already made this podcast episode, but apparently I did not. Wanted to get into this because it's definitely been a theme in my life that has been occurring, and something really weird happened to me somewhat recently, probably within the past couple of weeks, that I shared on TikTok and it resonated with way more people than I thought it was going to. So I wanted to share it on this podcast as well. But if you're not into like the spiritual woo-woo kind of things, take this story with a grain of salt and just listen to at least the message, okay? Whatever you believe in, I'm not trying to promote my beliefs on anyone at all, but take what resonates with you. I think that we can all relate to a message of letting go and releasing, surrendering. So much has happened in my life recently where I lost my job a couple months ago. My apartment in Miami was ending, so I didn't want to move into another apartment without like solid income coming in. So I moved in with my family and I'm here now. I think probably about month one was great. It was like catching up with family. I don't really get to see them very often. Everything was great. I had interviews lined up, like everything was moving, right? But month 2, everything kind of started to feel like nothing was getting anywhere. And the need for me to want to control my next step and like want to get on to the next phase of my life and want to like be able to plan what next moves are coming has really been like eating at me. I also lost like my whole friend group. Most recently lost someone that I was talking to recently. Hasn't really came to a full cycle of ending yet, but it's getting there. It's just like so much is going on that I feel like I was feeling at the time, maybe about like a couple weeks, like let's say 2 weeks ago, I was feeling very much, holy shit, what am I gonna do next? I'm stressing out. I need to like move on with my life. I need to get to the next step. I can't be living in my family's home for forever. And it was just like really weighing on me. Like, I don't know what to do. My next step is very unclear. It's stressing me out. I feel like I have to control every aspect of every situation. For instance, I'd be so set on like moving to a specific location, just like going all in on that. I wanted to move to California at some point, and like the option's still there, maybe in the future, maybe not right this second. It was, hey, I want to move to California and I just want to like jump to the next step, and without even thinking about if this is the right decision for me. And anyway, it was just giving me so much anxiety. I didn't know where I should be living. I still don't, but like, I'm in a different headspace now. Getting to the next phase of my life, next chapter, has been heavily weighing on my mind, where I had this idea in my head of this is what I want. Anything else, I'm just not even gonna like entertain it as an opportunity. And I think that put me in a very like stuck box. So one day I woke up with the most anxiety that I felt ever. And I know that whenever I'm feeling anxiety, something's off, something's wrong. My body's telling me relax. My energy is just like chaotic because there were so many moving pieces. I want to get to the next chapter. I feel like I'm out of control of my life and what's going on, and it's stressing me out. So I woke up with all this anxiety. I'm like, okay, I need to go work somewhere. I need to get out of the house. It's stressing me out. I don't want to be here. So I left, and I was just originally planning on going to the local Starbucks, which is like a 5-minute drive from my house. Get to the turn where I'm supposed to turn right to go to the Starbucks, and I accidentally turned left, and I'm like, damn, I didn't mean to do that. But I was like, you know what? we're not going to Starbucks today. We're just going to go on the highway. We're going to go to the next town over and go to a random coffee shop I've never been in. So I just like Google Maps a coffee shop that I saw on TikTok. So I show up, I open the door. I'm like, oh, this is a cute place. I'm looking around. And then I look straight, and the woman who is sitting on the opposite side is just like facing the door. It's just staring at me. I'm like, what is going on? This is weird. Go get my matcha. I take a seat. There's like a seat next to her, and I sit down and I just start zoning in. I'm doing my work. She gets up, goes to the bathroom, and I'm like just being a little nosy. Whatever, we all do it. I'm looking over at the book that she's reading, and the title of the book is called Spirit Babies. Anyway, I'm listening to the audio version of this now, and it's actually really good. And if you're into spirituality, if you're into like, if you want to get pregnant, I think that this is a really good book. I was looking over and I'm like, wow, that seems like a book that I would really be interested in. Like, do I ask her about it? And it was weird too, because I had originally wanted to ask her about this book specifically because the past couple weeks before then, I had felt the energies of like my future kids, and that might be like a weird thing to say, but I kind of feel like they're around me sometimes and just like hanging out. I don't know if I'm just like making this up in my head or they're actually there, but it's something that I was like I've kind of been thinking about. I wanted to ask her about it, but I didn't want to come off like, hey, I'm being weird and nosy. Anyway, I'm sitting there and she takes out her headphones and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to say it. Something in me was like, Gabby, just talk to her. And I'm not the person to bother anyone while they're working. I'm not the type of person to like go out of my way to talk to a stranger at all. That's just like not what I do. But I think like after this interaction, it kind of made me want to do this a lot more. Like, you just don't know what kind of people you're going to meet. I asked her, I was like, hey, I don't mean to be weird, but like I was being nosy. I saw that you're reading this book. It looks like something that I would be into. Can you tell me a little bit about it? She's like, well, I just started it, but basically about how babies on the other realm are just connected to their parents. And I was like, oh, that's so weird, because I recently have been feeling like my future kids are around me sometimes. And she's like, that's so weird. Flips the page back and she's like, I was literally just reading this as how that's a thing, that they come down and just like are around you because they want to like see what environment they're getting themselves into. And I'm like, okay, that's really strange. So weird. We started getting into this like spiritual talk, right? And then she tells me that she is like some type of psychic. And I was just like, okay, well, like I'm so into psychics. I go all the time. Like, tell me something, I'm interested. And this lady looks me in my soul, reads me like a book, was just like, what are you worrying about? Like, what are you worrying about? And I'm like, damn, like, is it that obvious? And she's like, you feel like you have to control every moving piece. Like, things are unfolding for you. Just practice releasing and surrendering. You do not have to play God. And I'm like, whoa. She just gave me the message that I have been thinking about for the past like couple of days. And she said some other things that was like crazy, but that specific message I really needed to hear. If you're watching this, practicing surrender and releasing and letting go, because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know what moving pieces are moving in order for you to get to your greatest good. Like, if you were meant to know, you would know by now. So I really can't control a lot of things right now, but what I can control, I'm working towards things and releasing any outcome. I think in my head, I was so set on moving to a specific place, either back to Miami or back to LA, and it's okay to want what you want, right? But I think to the point where I was forcing it, like I really wanted to get there, forcing the pieces of it has to happen this way, that I wasn't even open to any other possibilities that could possibly land on my lap. I think just being open to however things are going to unfold for you, because you genuinely don't know how great something can get if you're so focused on things happening your way and how you want it to happen. And I think this applies to any area in life. I know this is a dating podcast and I do want to get into like forcing different relationships, but this does apply so heavily into life. And I think right now, just knowing that everything is going to happen. So for instance, the last episode, I made a video about how I was ghosted by this job in Miami. And it was because I literally, after that like first or second interview, I was like, I want this job. This is my job. And I was being very like, I was hanging on to it, like grasping onto it. It was my fucking job. And I just knew this deep down in me. But then after like a week of not hearing from them after my second interview, I'm like, okay, what happened? They ghosted me. And then I'm like, you know what? If it wasn't for me, it's not meant for me. I'm going to release it. Just let it go. And then as soon as I did that, the next Monday that rolled around, I got an email saying, hey, we want to bring you in for another interview. And let things go. Let things be free. Because the more that you cling on to something so wholeheartedly that you can't see anything else as an opportunity, the more you cling on to a person or a thing, the more suffocated that thing feels. And when something feels suffocated, they just want to like back out of the situation. Energetically, that is how the world works. If you are clinging on to something so hard, that person, that thing is going to slowly back away. Practicing detachment, I think it's a hard thing to do. I'm not gonna lie and say that this is like easy, but I'm honestly just so okay with how things are happening. So for instance, when I did feel like, okay, I'm just gonna release, let go, let things just happen, because this feeling like I have to control things that aren't even in my power to control is weighing so heavily on me. I'm getting anxiety. I don't feel good. Isn't serving me. So why not just let my life's plan unfold the way that it needs to? Because right now I can say that yes, it's not like my favorite thing having lived in my family's home right now, but what I can say is that I'm spending more quality time with my family that I didn't get to before. I'm actually saving money. It's not the worst situation to be in. Fed every day. I have a roof over my head. Being thankful that I actually get to hang out with my nieces whenever I want to. Yes, it sucks because I'm not with like friends and like I don't get to do things that I want to do as much. I don't necessarily have the same amount of freedom, but I need to be okay with just being in the present and what's happening for me right now. As soon as I released like, okay, maybe this job wasn't for me. If it's not meant for me, then I can keep on my merry way and keep trucking along. And as soon as I made that decision in my head, that next Monday that rolled around, they reached out to me for another interview. Letting go opens so many more opportunities and possibilities for you that you are blind to. If you were meant to know what was in store for you, you would know at that point, and in that point you can start planning your life. It doesn't always have to be according to your plan. Sometimes things are actually happening that you can't see, that are bringing you to your highest timeline that you don't even recognize, and you think so much that this is going to be how things happen. You don't need to know the how, you just need to know what you want out of life. You don't need to know how you're going to get there. That's not for you to determine, but know what you want, really what it comes down to. And once you know what you want, release, take the steps to get there. If something's not working, take another course. Like, it doesn't have to be so treacherous. I really live in this it's called divine compensation theory, where if something is taken from your life, it is going to be replaced by something so much bigger, so much better, something so much greater that is aligned with you and your path than what you lost. Not everything that you lose is a loss. So everything that you do lose is going to be replaced by something so much better. So yes, it's uncomfortable at the time and you don't want to lose certain things from your life, but what if losing that thing is actually bringing you so much closer to what's meant for you? And what if that person that you've been clinging onto that you think is your soulmate is actually blocking you from someone that's going to treat you so much better, that has so much better intentions for you, someone that is actually going to love you the way that you need to be loved? What if you're really hanging on to them, like toxic friendships that because they're around you, you cannot bring in people that are actually going to have your best interests at heart? So letting go of anything that is not serving you is actually the biggest blessing. When you feel like life is not happening the way that you want it to, and you're just constantly getting shitted on, I can guarantee you those rejections, those life blockages are actually protecting you, because life wants you to experience the best that life has. God, the universe, whatever you believe in, source, is bringing you so much closer to your path if you just let things happen the way that they're meant to happen. You don't have to control everything. And in fact, it's better when you don't. Life is so much better when you don't feel like you have to control everything. Promise. But as far as people, I do want to get into that, because I do think that obviously this is a dating podcast, right? I think something that I have been thinking a lot about, well, really because a lot of people write in about like certain problems that they're having, and a lot of times I'm seeing girls write in about, hey, my boyfriend's doing this, how do I get him to stop, kind of thing, or like, hey, how do I get him to come to me, and like he's talking to this other girl now, he's with her, and you know, like, we're supposed to be together, like it just makes sense in my head that we're supposed to be together. And I get a lot of these. I felt like to the point where I need to talk about this, because when you're so attached to a person that you are failing to see all of the red flags, all of the negative aspects of the relationship, you're putting yourself in the most fucked up position. The more you let go and allow people to act how they want to act, allow people to unfold and show you exactly who they are, I don't feel the need anymore to want to control anyone. I used to do that in my past relationship, sure, but like this guy that I was most recently talking to, he is very attractive, and his profession is literally to be around women all the time. I had to let the situation unfold the way that it needed to. It wasn't until he was trying to control the way that I felt about something, or that I thought about something, was when I was like, I can't do this anymore, because I know like our values are just not aligning anymore. Even with that, like, show him just being, allowing him to just be, allowing him to feel what he needed to, allowing him to want what he wanted to. His actions are going to speak so much louder than anything else. So when you're so attached to someone and they're treating you like shit, it's really hard to let go of that person. So I don't attach myself to anyone anymore. I am allowing them to act however they want to. And if it's negative, that gives to me that like, hey, this doesn't fit in my life anymore. But just letting people just be who they are, that the more that you are trying to control the way that someone thinks, the way that someone feels, the way that someone acts, you're not serving yourself at all, because first of all, you're trying to control them. They feel controlled and suffocated, so they are now wanting to run away from you. And then you feel like you have to control them and giving your power away to another person, so you don't feel in control at all. Just letting someone be who they are and showing you exactly who they are. And once you find out exactly who you are, you know exactly what move to take then. In my most recent situation, I didn't attach myself to him. I let him be who he was. I kind of had a feeling something was a little not all there, but I was like, you know what? All I can trust right now is what he's showing me, what he's telling me, and eventually things are going to really unfold to where I will make the decision then. I'm not investing all of my feelings into this. I'm just letting things play out, and when he shows me that this isn't the situation that I want to be in, then I'm out. I'm not so attached to him at this point where it's so hard for me to get out. I'm letting things happen, letting him be him, and eventually he's going to show himself to me. And when he does, I will make the decision on if this is right for me or not. If you want to control every single action of his or hers, whoever you're talking to, if you want to control their every action, you are not going to be in control of your own life. There is something on the other side of this that is so much better of a fit. Someone that's going to be aligned with the same values and want the same things. And just because I lost this person, that is not a reflection of me at all, because I let this thing play out. Tread lightly in every situation. It doesn't have to be so serious that this person has to be your soulmate. Just take it for what it is. Slow the pace down. Entertain other options, pump the brakes if you need to, and eventually a person is going to be very clear about who they are, and you can make the decision then. Do I want to be with them? Are they actually a good fit? Do our values align? Do we want the same things? And if so, perfect. If not, life is trying to give you something so much better. That is it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this message resonated as much as it did on TikTok. If you have not done so already, please hit that subscribe button. Turn on your bell notifications, leave that 5-star rating, and we're on a better path now because I am just like so okay with whatever is next for me, as you should be as well in your life. Things are happening for you. Just allow them to happen, okay? You got this. I love you. Be safe. See you next Tuesday.